Mike Toran. Mike is Vice President and Chief Information Officer leading the global technology and systems infrastructure for Starr Companies, a global insurance organization. Prior to serving in this role, Mike served as the Chief Financial Officer at Starr Underwriting Agents and Starr Managing Agents in London. Next question is to Mike Toran from Starr. You're in the middle of a massive transformation to microservices architecture for the entire Starr enterprise. Deep breath. What led you to the decision to take this step, and how are you balancing the need for internal customization versus purchasing microservices components from the marketplace?
Yeah, so we're probably about halfway where I want to be going forward on this. It's something we thought through about 2 years ago and really started the transformation with basic things like a document management system and started moving through. I would say one of our biggest challenges is not the technology. If you look at the technological side of APIs and microservices, it's actually pretty easy. There's not a lot of rocket science in that. Getting people to be agile on both sides of the actual code is much more of a challenge. So getting the organization to think of a BRD in 2 weeks instead of 9 months, getting the adoption process, the testing process, the partner integrations all to be in weeks instead of monthly term type commitments. That's probably been the biggest challenge, as we've been moving forward. And then, as we move forward with the transformation, it's the people internally. I've had to do retooling, had to go through a large process of getting our own people to see the benefits of developing microservices and what the benefits would be going forward where we can really transition.
So, I don't know if you use the word agile, but essentially you're sort of changing your development mode to an agile mode. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah,
it
goes hand in hand.
I'm sorry.
It goes hand in hand. Yeah.
Okay, implies organizational change. I mean,
Yep.
You talked a little bit about that. Could you kind of expand on that? I mean, people happy and eager, or
some, yes. Yeah.
some less happy, less eager.
I would say the majority are. Now, you don't necessarily have it in the people that are writing the code. You have it in, I would say, the softer skills. So going to a business analyst that's got an enormous amount of industry experience for, what I think of the very difficult products, commercial auto, workers' comp, things like that are very highly regulated, very difficult to get across the line, and going to a BA and saying, I don't need a 500-page BRD in 9 months. I need a 5-page BRD every 3 days. Mm-hmm. That is a complete dynamic shift for the individual. And if you're late, you've held up the development efforts because now the programmers have been taught agile and they've been thinking this way for many years. It's everybody surrounding it to make sure that you're feeding into the development and you're getting that information out, testing it, integrating it, getting ready for production and rollout. That process has taken a retooling from everything from the business requirements, finding the right users and that can define things, to how do I get this out in the universe and train. When I'm going through the challenge now where we can put code out faster in certain areas and we can train the users, and really having to get both sides of the equation to really think of that agile DevSecOps type. I know it's a big buzzword, but it really is a mentality shift where microservices is just at the core of that. It's a good tech enabler for it.
So, there's a term, I guess it's probably more an insurtech term than insurance company term, but minimal viable product, startup term. And has that played any role? I mean, one of the problems, of course, is we in insurance are rather heavily regulated. You just can't kind of wing it with, I'm going to make up some products and make up some rates, at least not in most lines. How does that play at all in terms of your shared development? Put it into use strategies?
It does. So, the MVP would scare the crap out of the compliance people and vice versa. So yeah. You have to be creative. One of the examples I can give you now is we're working on a commercial auto rewrite of our product, and that's really taken a lot of I would say the SME business tech, the API microservices, and scaling that up to something like commercial auto. So there's not a lot of leeway from our compliance folks to get that across the line. So we built something called a tire kicker, which is an indication only type thing, plastered indication all over it, and let them use it, not to issue a quote, but to see if they're in the game and they're doing a multi-package type policy. They think it's great. It's a sneaky way on my end to get kind of that agile build or get an incremental build. I'm not necessarily having to delay testing the filing, the forms, the rates until the bitter end. So there are ways to get that quick deliverable to the business without it waiting till the full product scope.